Good morning, leaders. This is take two of preparing this video about our strategies that we're going to focus on really for the rest the of November. Thinking routines. And so as we continue to build better, this video is about introducing you to 6 core routines that we will look at implementing over the entire campus related to thinking. And so let's start with the why. I always start with the why. And so, what we've identified through our instructional rounds and observation is a real need if we want to continue towards the promise that we have for ourselves to improve student achievement, is to move from a more teacher centered classroom to a student centered classroom. And thinking routines are a quick, really no prep opportunity for us to integrate a strategy into our lessons that promote students' thinking. It really does move the instruction from the teacher to the learner, and it does create what we call an equitable student voice. So it's not that you're hearing from a few students, you really are hearing from all of your students. And when you hear from them, it gives you an opportunity to provide feedback and also to address misconceptions that students often have but aren't necessarily voiced because we don't provide those opportunities in our classroom. So let's talk about the 6 routines that we're going to incorporate. Reasoning frames, color code your thinking, the 3 column thinking chart, turn, talk, and justify, an oldie but goodie, claims, evidence, and reasoning, and lastly, I think because, I think but, and I think so. These are very simple routines, but they can have a huge impact on what we're able to accomplish as it relates to students really thinking and actually making thinking visible in the classroom so that we can make those necessary adjustments to ensure that we're reaching our learning targets. All right, the first up is reasoning frames, very easy. And it's really something I think that we're already incorporating, but I think what we need to be is more intentional about um, why we're using the strategy and when we use the strategy. And so it really is just a structured sentence stems to explain how you know. This is just an example. If blank, then blank because. And what it does is it helps us to ensure that kids are thinking. So the logic is there. Also, it encourages students to use academic vocabulary, which is another area of growth for the school. It's just students using the vocabulary of the standard to ensure that they're learning. Second up is color culture thinking. I think this is a great strategy to kind of stack on top of another strategy. So utilizing highlighters to have students identify within their own writing their claim, their evidence, and their reasoning. And what it does is it helps students to make sure they have all those things in their writing, as well as helps them ensure that they have enough evidence, claims, and reasons to support their ideas. And it really does make learning visible. The third strategy is thinking columns, a 3 column thinking chart. So, what it says, what it means, why it matters. It helps students go from just surface learning to deeper learning, and then it transfers it into long term because it's asking them to explain why it matters. It encourages students to interpret, and it also encourages justification of why we're choosing the answers that we are. It encourages the thinking. The fourth strategy is turn, talk, and justify. I think we are very versed in the idea of turn and talk, but when you add in the prompts that encourage kids to justify, what we do is we ramp up the rigor in the classroom. So, for example, when we ask kids not only to turn and talk, but tell the why behind your answer. So, I agree because, I see it differently because, and it encourages kids to collaborate with each other. And I think it is a very low prep strategy to encourage dialogue and critical thinking. The fifth strategy is claims, evidence, and reasoning. This is a strategy that I've seen used a lot in science as the Standards have changed over the course of the last few years, and so and also in ELA for writing. So identifying or creating a clear statement or answer, um, having examples that support your answers, and then also providing a reasoning which connects the claim to the evidence. And the last strategy, I think because, I think but, and I think so. So again, these are sentence frames, but what it does is it provides a structure to help our students to develop reasoning, their counter arguments. So that's the but, and the conclusions, and that's the so. And so it deepens their analysis. It helps them to dig deeper. It helps them to better be able to discuss their answers, and it really does help encourage a higher level rigor in the classroom. So those are our 6 thinking strategies. Our implementation plan is very similar to last month, where we have the raft. Where we did the raft, we'll ask you to next week try one of the thinking routines, align it to your learning target, and then capture evidence of student learning. Or student thinking, and then also to reflect on it in your PLC discussions as you plan lessons. Ms. James will send out a link for you to upload your evidence. She's also providing some additional support through a one-pager and some strategies about how you can use thinking strategies across the content areas. All right, so as we think about building better, we also want to think about building better thinkers. And so just reminding you that how we get to the promise is we have to be married to the process, focus on the process. And so this is just another process that we can quickly incorporate into our learning that amps up the rigor, shifts the thinking from teaching to learning, and gets kids really, really thinking. And lastly, but always, you got this, and we got you. So please reach out if you need additional support. If you'd like one of our team members to come in and model for you or co-teach with you as you try to implement the strategy, we're here for you, because we know by supporting you, we're going to get to the goals we set for our classes. And with that, y'all have a great day.